Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Human in Me. You are here with your boy Mpoma Swale, and I am joined by Ndamulelo once more.
Yes. What's up?
Welcome back, my guy. Welcome back.
Welcome back. We skipped a week and now we're back
Yeah,
at it.
we're back in business.
Hit the ground
Um,
running.
Why did we skip? Oh, yeah, we decided not to record because,
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's
Yeah.
getting late now. The assignments are piling up. The exams are getting closer. The year is coming to an end. So you need
It's coming
to
to an end.
yeah, man, you need to start working on your stuff and make sure that everything is sorted.
Hey, but business should be booming.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so on today's episode, we are not going to talk about anything special. So what I wanted us to do was to, because this is gonna be, is it gonna? I think yeah, this is gonna be our last episode for the year. So we'll start recording again in next year because exams are getting closer and you're not gonna have time to sit down and come and talk about stuff, you know. So we are going to disappear for quite a while and then we're gonna come back next year in January. Are you coming back in January?
Probably.
Yeah, so we'll come back in January and yeah, we do apologize for for this obviously. But yeah, next year we're gonna come back with the very same things we've been talking about, and we're just gonna take off where we left off. So, today we wanted to do some reflections on what,
Reflections on
yeah.
our
So
personal development journey, basically.
yeah, yeah. That's what I wanted to say. That today we'll be just be doing reflections on our journey. When it comes to personal development and what we've come to learn moving forward. Obviously, there are things that we learn from other people. There are things that we learn from each other. There are things that we learn from our, own individual research. So we just go on to share with you guys how or what we've come to learn, basically. So I don't know. Do you want to start or something, or should I just?
Nah. I think you should go ahead.
Okay. So here's the thing, right? I'm just gonna take it back to episode number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I've come to learn is that for you to know the person that you've grown up to be, you have to try to dig back into your past and try to find out how you were brought up, and try to look at the people around you in your community, try to look at how they did things, try to look at your friends, how they did things, look at their parents, look at your parents, and that will give you an idea of how people back where you come from generally think. And then from then on, you look at your own personal experiences, how you've come to make sense of the world, the beliefs that you hold, the things that you gravitate towards, the things that you hate, and then you start asking yourself, why do I hate that? Why do I like that? What are the beliefs and the values that I hold? So that also can give you an idea of where do you get those. For example, there are people who make eggs, putting onion inside, and there are people who don't even put anything inside. I cannot eat my eggs. Okay, I can, but preferably I choose not to eat eggs without tomato sauce.
Wow.
Because
That's something you put inside or
like you just
and
on
aside
top of you have to
after they cooked.
yeah.
Okay.
No. Oh, you were thinking that I'm putting tomato sauce while
You
they are
said
in there.
inside.
Oh no, like when they are
that would have
cooked.
been interesting.
When they are cooked, that's basically what happens. I put it's like pour tomato sauce on top of the eggs, and that's basically how I do it. There are people who cook pap differently. Some people, with Xhosa people, and I think Zulu people do the same thing. When they make that pap that looks like small balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, what do they call it.
I don't know, bro. But I
Yeah.
think the small bowl pop
The-
tradition is very African.
So they do make. Do you guys make that pap also?
No, no, no. But
Okay, so
I know Congolese people do.
the Congolese people. So the reason why they do that kind of pap is because that's what they eat with milk or in Comanche. But for me, I cook pap in J. It's just pap, and I put salt obviously because I think that it makes the pap more versatile. I can eat pap in milk without
Wow.
salt. Some people don't add salt. I don't understand how do they even come to eat pap that doesn't have salt. Doesn't make sense to
Wow.
me. But people do that either way. So
Wow.
tell it to press the button.
That's fine. Yeah.
So
Um.
yeah.
Uh huh.
So yeah, I mean, some people,
Uh huh.
so basically that's just it's just the thing. Like you look at the things that you believe in, and then you start asking yourself, where do these things come from? You will realize that you learned that from, the people from back home, and then you try to see how that,
Uh huh.
makes you interact with the world,
Mhm.
and then from then on,
Mhm.
you the only thing that I think you should do is to just pinpoint those things, because if you become aware of them, they
Mhm.
will they will come up one by one. This one will lead to that one, another one will would lead to another one, and then over time they build up, they become, and then when you become aware of them, you will come to realize that there are certain things, especially the things that you hate. There are certain things that you tend to blow out of proportion, because this other time when I was doing the campaigning at Res, right, I was talking to
Mhm.
this other girl, and then I was telling her that um, the way she reacts to the things that people do, especially the things that she says that she hates, it's basically her fault. And she was like, "What the fuck do you mean it's my fault?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's your fault, because it's your interpretation that determines how you are going to act to that." And then I asked her the question of which, why do you hate those things,
Mhm.
those
Mhm.
specific things that people hate in the first place? Wearing
Mhm.
tall. So obviously at the point, we were in a hurry, so we couldn't even get deep into the whole thing. But the initial reaction when I told her that it's her fault that she's reacting that way, she was like, "No, but people people are full of shit." But I'm like, "Yeah, still, the reason why they're full of shit is because of your interpretation of the whole thing."
Mhm. Mhm.
And then, when you get to that, it kind of gives you the power to, look at how you react to the things that you don't like generally.
Mhm.
You just have to go back and ask yourself, why do I hate this thing? Because sometimes you'd come to realize that some people don't even like it when you comment on, how they are dressed,
Mhm.
or, when
Mhm.
you comment on how they look,
Mhm.
because of certain insecurities that were brought up,
Mhm.
by whatever happened in the past when they were still growing up.
Mhm.
So if you are aware of those things, at least it gives you, more
Mhm.
power to be able to be like, if this person probably doesn't know where I come
Mhm.
from, there's no point in me getting angry at them. There's no point
Mhm.
in me, you know, being, pushing them back because of the things that they are saying. So
Mhm.
that's what I've come to learn in my journey, that just because I hate something doesn't justify me
Mhm.
acting in certain ways towards people who do that particular
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
I always have to ask myself, why do I hate this? Why do I hate this? Being
Mhm.
told, at the end of the day, this I feel like makes me quite an understanding person, because every time someone acts in, a certain way, I always try to, bring
Mhm.
myself back and be like, okay, now I'm blowing this thing out of proportion. So
Mhm.
now I have to come back and, stabilize the way I feel about that thing at that particular time. So that's being,
Sure.
the thing that I've been doing, in trying to interact with people and,
Mhm.
get to know people and get them to get to know me. So that's just one half of the story, obviously.
Sure. Yeah, and on the point of judgments, right, and tolerance, which determine how you react to situations. Yeah, it reminds me of I think a story I once told
Speak
before.
into the microphone.
I think I told you the story before, but basically, I think there's nothing more. There's nothing more. Um, I'd say enlightening,
Mm-hmm.
or there's nothing that convinces you that tolerance and awareness are the things that help you grow in your consciousness than it happening to you, right? For example, I could say as a kid, right? And you grow up and you have beliefs and judgments, right? These are ways in which you see the world,
Yeah.
and they determine how you react to every situation, which is why awareness is like at the very foundation of, being more conscious. Because when you're aware of, why things are and the way they are, then you can start to know yourself, right? So basically, I think there's nothing better than being aware of your own systems, right? And being able to point that out. Because an example I could give is, for example, the typical kid, right, who goes from crash to high school and gets ready for this big journey to a different city, which is
Mm-hmm.
bigger,
Mm-hmm.
um, um, far from home, maybe, but basically, they move from um, their uh, primary environment, or the environment that has molded them to who they are, right? Which kind of keeps them asleep in terms of they don't know. It's like fish swimming in water, right? And I think one of the big things is, if you're the fish and you go to a different situation and that takes you out of the water, right? Or let's say you're a fish which, used to swim in a swamp, right? And they take you into a clean pool, right? Yeah, that's going to be, difficult for you. It's like sort of do or die, You get to do a lot of adaptation, and that's when the most
Yeah.
consciousness comes automatically without you even trying.
Yeah.
For example, let's say a kid who grew up in a household where they had a solid religious system, whether it was Christianity,
Mm.
um, Islam, um, yeah, Buddhism, anything, right? And then they move, because at the point where you're at that place at home, or you're not an adult before,
Mm-hmm.
you maybe look at people who get drunk, or the local drunkards in your town, and you go, I would never do that, And the judgment cast on to those people
Mm.
by your set of belief systems is so terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Flashback 4 years from now, you're drunk and you're doing what you saw other drunk people do in your life, and
Definitely.
it hits you that, you know, you don't feel any form of guilt towards it,
Mm.
right? And you don't feel embarrassed by it because you understand it all of a sudden, right?
Sure.
Now, you don't just relate to it, right? You can identify
With
with
it.
these people.
Yeah.
I think
Because you're doing the same thing.
that's the best change that could have ever happen to a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best thing to implement, tolerance, right?
Sure.
Because if you could get that to happen to different aspects of your life and the beliefs
Mm-hmm.
around those aspects
Mm-hmm.
of your life, then, that's like personal development 101, because, everything gets deeper. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what makes you better of a person, because then you literally have an opportunity to make choices,
Definitely. Definitely.
because you know now you know different things, and beyond that, you've experienced them, right?
Mm.
And luckily, the benefits of experiences and realizations and reflections is you realize that you don't have to, um, um, since you have only one lifetime, you don't have to experience it over and over and over and over again to know how it's like, right?
Sure.
You can just take the wisdom from it,
Mm. Definitely.
and take the wisdom from um, those who have the experiences, right? And those who you're looking up to, and therefore, you take a shortcut for your life. So, that's like, I don't know, self development 2.0. You know, like when you're basically taking the steps forward,
Mm.
and it's no longer trial and error, but there's a system in which you go about, improving yourself,
Definitely.
and
Definitely.
you have a path to which you go through,
Mm.
right?
Can I add something while we are talking?
Yeah.
With regards to what you're saying about someone moving from one place to another, and having to adapt to what's going on in that place.
Mhm.
Another thing that I wanted to add into this whole thing is the whole it's this thing a good thing. Um, obviously in life you are going to come across stumbling blocks, right? So when you do come across stumbling blocks, those are things that you don't know how to deal with, obviously. So when you get to that point, what you would usually
Mhm.
have to do is to, cause this is what I do, right? Let me just say this thing from my own perspective. What I
Mhm.
do is that every time I come across a new problem in my life, I make sure Guti, I look for the information that's going to help me solve the problem. That's
Mhm.
basically what I do with almost everything, right?
Mhm.
Academics, personal life, like my life personal. I always try to make sure that even when it comes to finances, the moment I realize that I am failing at something, I stop and then I look for the information that's going to help me, adapt better or do much better when I try that next time. So to give you an example, you still remember a few weeks. It's not a few weeks though.
Mhm.
Someone is calling me and I don't know why. Hello. Yeah. So you still remember last? Is it last week? I think it's no, it's not last week. I think it's a month.
Mhm.
It's a month from now when I was trying to do the forex thing, right? And then I came to the realization, Oguti, I
Mhm.
might have had like systems in place, like the trading systems. I might have established my own trading system, but the problem is that my risk management was fucked up,
Mhm.
right? So instead of looking at it and being like, this thing is eating my money, obviously I had to lose like $50 from that. Is it $50? I think it's $50. So after losing $50, I was like, nah, fuck this thing. I'm taking my money out. So I took my money out because I realized, Guti, I need to learn about risk management.
Mhm.
I needed to learn about risk management. So I stopped the whole thing, and then now I have to invest my time into trying to find out look for
Mhm.
the information that's going to help me improve my risk management, and
Mhm.
then after I got the information, I'm going back. So
Mhm.
that's basically the approach with everything in my life, Oguti. Every time I come across a new problem, always make it a point, Oguti. I look for the information that's gonna help me deal with that.
Mhm.
If
Exactly.
because another thing, especially when it comes to dealing with people, another thing that
Mhm.
I've come to realize is that you cannot change people, no
That's
matter
true.
how hard you try. Like you can tell them that this is the thing, but you know, you cannot change people. So the thing that you can do is to try to work on yourself.
Mhm.
That's like the only thing you can do. So you look for the information that's going to help you facilitate your interactions with people. How do I improve upon this? So every single thing that you go through, let me not say that you go through every stumbling block that you come across, because you are gonna come across stumbling blocks. Every single one of them. You always try to look for the information to help you move on to the next step. Move on to the next step, because you have to realize that you're not equipped to deal with every single problem that you have in your life.
Mhm.
You're only equipped to deal with the few problems that you encounter, more and more and more and more. And unfortunately, as you grow up, you come across new problems that you still need to learn how to deal with them. So that's like the thing. Every time you come across a stumbling block, go out there, look for information that's gonna help you move up, over that
Mhm.
stumbling block. That's like, yeah, that's the only way to maintain your sanity.
Mhm.
That's one of the few ways to maintain your sanity. So you just do that, and then
Mhm.
off you go. You move forward, and you don't have a lot of
Most
stress.
definitely.
So that's just the thing. And then, do you want to add something?
Um,
Speaking to the microphone.
yeah, not really though, but I think one thing that I'd like to, I don't know, um, say, give a word of encouragement instead of just adding, is that, um,
Reflections, my friend, reflections. What have you
yeah,
learned on your journey?
yeah, I'm gonna start with the word then. come back.
especially the thing that you've seen, like the mistakes that you've seen a lot of people do. Because
Mhm.
if a lot of people are doing it, that simply means that they are not the only ones doing that same thing.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm saying reflections.
Mhm.
Because I mean, like what I just said is basically me reflecting on what I've learned. That every
Yeah.
time you come across a new problem, you go out and look for the information to help you solve the problem.
Mhm. Yeah. So basically, um, Now I lost
Yeah,
my
I can
train of
see your
thought.
mind is not here. So this is what I'm going to do, right? Because obviously this whole thing we're gonna run out of time before we get to the end. So I'm just gonna mention one last thing that I feel like
Mhm.
you should look out for out there. It's this whole thing of living alone.
Oh.
Yeah. So I came to realize it was in back in 2018. It was around June. So I realized that every time I was like like sitting in my room and studying, I would constantly crave for something, and everything that I craved for, I
Mhm.
would just go to the fridge, open, take that thing, and go back. Go to the fridge, take that thing, and go back. Every time you needed to pee, you just stand it up, you go to the bathroom, and then you're done. Every time you needed to take a bath, take a shower, you just go there, you take a shower, you take a bath, or you take a
Mhm.
shower,
Mhm.
and then you come back, right? So through all those moves that I was making in my own flat, there wasn't any form of resistance. So everything that was done in there was done with so much ease, and there was really any resistance in the movements that I did. But I
Mhm.
realized one day when I went to the fridge and I couldn't find what I was looking for, I got
Mhm.
frustrated.
Mhm.
So when I got
Mhm.
to the fridge and couldn't find what I was looking for, frustration came about.
Mhm.
So and then I started asking myself, why do I get frustrated when I can't find what I'm looking for in there?
Mhm.
In the fridge. And that's when I came to realize that part of the reason why that's the case is because of the fact that I've gotten so used to the whole thing of doing actions in my room without any form of resistance. So
Mhm.
every time I come across some form of resistance, it made me mad. Wellington.
Mhm.
So I let it slide the first time it happened, and then I went out and then I interacted with people. So during my interactions with people, I realized the same thing, that
Mhm.
every time I got into an argument, or if I was talking to someone and I
Mhm.
experienced a little bit of resistance, I would normally, start to get angry at that person. Wellington.
Mhm.
So I mean, like it is fucked up that that was happening, but that was the case. Every time I came across someone
Mhm.
who held views that were different from mine, I used to
Mhm.
get mad and be like, yeah, fuck this thing, and then start doing my own thing. So that's when I realized, because I was still busy, on the reading on neuroscience. So
Mhm.
especially with regards to how the brain works and all that. So there was this part where they talked about human beings have a tendency to take the path of least resistance. So every time I found myself using, like, taking the easy path, I would always come back to myself and be like, why am I taking
Mhm.
the path with the least resistance? And
Mhm.
that's when I realized, Kuti, no, my brain has learned to function without any form of resistance. When I come
Mhm.
across resistance,
Mhm.
I lose my shit. So that's basically another thing that we also have to be aware of, especially when you're living alone. When people visit you, you should always remember that you are going to, get mad when they move your stuff around, because it makes it difficult for you to find them. It's
Mhm.
not so much
Mhm.
that you are a person who likes when things stay the same. Yeah, maybe you might be, but the majority of time is this
Mhm.
thing, you've gotten so used to having things go the way that you want them to go, that every time you look for something, your brain can see, okay, now something is going wrong, and then you try to fix that immediately. And then one last point that I wanted to mention, which is basically what I learned from you, is to give people a clean slate. That was one of the most important lessons I've ever learned, giving people a clean slate.
Mhm.
So, I mean, like, yeah, you can
What
elaborate
you
more
mean?
on giving people a
No, tell
clean
me what
slate.
you think. What you
I mean, like,
mean
you're the
by.
one who knows this. Okay, so this is okay. So this is what goes on, all right, with the
Mhm.
whole thing about giving people clean slates. You have to realize that people are gonna make mistakes. That's number one, right?
Mhm.
And there's another thing that you said. It has taken you so long, so many years to know yourself. What
Mhm.
makes you think that someone is gonna know you in just 5 months?
Yeah,
It's
that's.
practically
Mhm.
impossible, right?
Mhm.
So you have to try to give people clean slates here and there, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, there are things that are intolerable, like from the get go. If someone does something, it's game over.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
But there are certain things that you can always forgive people when it comes to, because
Mhm.
they don't know you. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Like you
That's
said,
true.
it has taken you so long to get to know
Mhm.
yourself. What makes you so
Mhm.
sure that someone is just gonna know you in just 5 months? So with
Mhm.
that information, it has helped me, especially with the whole thing of giving people clean slates. It has allowed me to always get to a point of, just be the bigger person. If people do things that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
think are just bullshit, you always try to bring yourself back and be like, they probably don't understand. So
Mhm.
you get to a point where you just start forgiving them,
Mhm. Mhm.
because you do realize that you are the only one who knows what you don't like, what you hate, and all that. But they don't. So for them, they are just gonna act in their own, their
Mhm.
natural states. But
Yeah.
for you, because they are in your life, you have to try to, show them things in a way that doesn't fuck up the relationship.
Mhm.
Hence, the whole thing of giving people giving people a clean slate is very important. And then another thing that you helped me realize with regards to that was the fact that even though you have rules and regulations in your own life that help you,
Mhm.
like systems and all that help
Mhm.
you govern, how you do things, you have to realize that you are going to expect people to abide to those,
Mhm.
right? So when you put you said this thing in a way that's more easy, but I'll try to put
Mhm.
my own stuff in there. So I remember you telling me, Guti, um when you put rules in place, you have to make sure, Guti, even you follow the same rules.
Yeah. The principles have a double bind, basically.
They have a double bind.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now what I've come to realize is that a lot of people walk around saying that you have to do this, you're not supposed to do this. They expect you to follow their rules, with 100% accuracy. But they too themselves do not follow their rules in such a manner, which is kind of unfair. I mean, like, we do get the fact that, it's very, very important for you to have,
Yeah.
exclusion criteria for people who
Mhm.
walk into your life. But at the same time, you have to be willing to stick to your own rules.
That's true. Most importantly, in male-female relationships, because that could potentially ruin you in the future.
Mm,
Basically, you
mm,
could ruin yourself because even though um, you can manage to enforce that kind of principle on the other person,
mm-hmm.
but then at the back of their head, they'll always know that you don't follow your own principles,
Exactly.
and that's like it's only a matter of time before they break that principle and or blatantly just disrespect you altogether because
Exactly.
you're disrespecting
Exactly.
yourself. So you know, so yeah, you should be careful in the long run.
The
Putting
more
those
rules you have, the more you have to follow them.
exactly.
That's the sad part.
Yeah, so that's like yeah, it's like the I guess what do you call it? What's the saying they say? To those whom more is given, uh, the responsibility is equally burdensome,
Mm.
something like that. But basically, it's the price you pay for living by principles.
Yeah, the price you pay for living by principles. So you see, those are just some of the things that we wanted to reflect on. Just to give you a bit of where we come from and how far we've come to go to get to where we are.
Oof.
You still remember this other day I wrote on my status that I am the most understanding person I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was after an incident that happened where I realized that I could be angry at this person, but I chose not to, you know,
Oh, okay.
because I understand that even though they are the ones who are, enforcing those rules on me,
Hmm.
but at the same time, I realized that they're not following their same rules. I was like, okay. But, being me and understanding, people and trying to
Uh huh.
understand human nature, I was like, getting angry is just not worth it.
Yeah.
Getting angry just isn't worth it. So I'm just gonna,
Yeah. Cause
toss it to the side because it doesn't even affect me. So they are the
yeah.
ones who are going to suffer because of that. They are the ones who walk around trying to enforce their rules on people. But if they are not aware of the price they have to pay for that,
Yeah.
then that's their problem to deal with. I'm just not gonna get involved. I'll just continue what I do, and then just go on with life. So yeah, that's just as a brief,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
basically enforcing rules but not following them is hypocrisy, and then
Yeah,
you can't create structure while you're trying while there's no trust and order.
exactly.
It's like
So
it's like you being an officer of the law, but then you're breaking the
you're
law at the
breaking
same
the
time.
rules.
It's if it's something we mutually agreed upon, then you know thinking yourself exempt is
Mm.
means that you can't be trusted with being in that situation and in that
Yeah,
relationship. So
you see
that's
now.
just gonna crack it.
You see.
So yeah, man. Oh, and yeah, I mean, obviously everybody breaks their own rules from time to time. But yeah, when you do, you always have to be able to put your pride aside enough to apologize.
Mm, mm, mm.
And yeah, because one
A calculated apology, though. You can't go on apologizing for everything.
yeah, you have to apologize for the solid thing and
Yeah.
try your best not to apologize
Try your
a
best not
lot
to apologize. Okay, a lot.
because then you probably don't have solid rules,
Yeah,
or you probably don't know what you're talking about.
exactly. So we're done again.
Yeah.
So okay, so this is just like I just said, this was us trying to give you a bit of reflection of where we come from and the things that we've come to learn in our journey. This is obviously this is just a piece of the whole
It's
pie.
just points there and there.
Yeah, the points
Points
here and
there and
there
there.
because we wanted to leave you with something before we disappear. Because we'll be gone for like 2 months. So that's just the
Whoa.
sad part. But yeah, we're still gonna come back next year and then start recording, and then we hope
Shoot.
that you did learn. Okay, you are going to learn from these things. I hope you do learn a thing or two from what we just shared, and then you use that in your own life.
Mm.
You're doing it for yourself. Obviously, you're not doing it for other people. Other people are just getting the benefits of you. They're calling you. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself because everything has to begin with you. Before you can love another person, you have to love yourself first. Before you appreciate other people, you have to appreciate yourself first. So everything
Shoot.
has to begin with you. Always remember that.
Damn.
So when you work on yourself and then you grow as an individual, other people will see that you're growing, and then they too will, move along and, grow with you if they want to, that is. So yeah, we'll see you again, guys. We'll see you again next year in yeah, like my voice is going down when I say next year. Seems like we'll be gone for like years, but yeah, we're just gonna disappear for like just 2 months because now we have exams to deal with, and then after exams we have to leave Cape Town and then come back again in January. So when we come back, and then another thing is that we live in two different places, you know.
Uh-huh.
So it's not gonna be possible for us to record. So, but we'll see you guys next year, and we hope you're going to have an awesome festive season, and you'll come back in one piece.